And once more for the truck. Hey, hey, hey. Yep. 1, 2, 1, 2 for the truck. Got me? Yeah. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey. You guys good? Copy that.
Thank you. Can you hand it to Jon? Brian, were you going to frame the session for Robbie?
Hey, Rob, congratulations. Just curious, what your reaction was to the decision. Were you confident you had won?
Yeah, I mean, I won the first, won the third, pressed him, whatever. I mean, you leave it up to the judges. You never know what's going to happen. He fought hard. I thought I was going to finish him in the first. I was disappointed in my performance. I feel like I should have done more, and that's about it.
You certainly came out, you stormed out after him. I don't know if you surprised him or whatever, but was that sort of the game plan, or did you just kind of react when the bell sounded?
Yeah, I just went out there and started fighting and tried to take him out when I had him hurt. But he was resilient today, and he put on a great performance.
You mentioned Matt Hughes after in your post-fight interview with Joe. I mean, how much was Matt's situation on your mind as you were going through training camp and getting to this point?
I'm pretty good at focusing on the task at hand, but obviously it's a buddy of mine. He would be right around the corner right now. He would have been here this whole week. It's tough, but he's fighting a fight now, and it is what it is, and he's doing all right.
And I know you, and lastly, you said you didn't want to talk about a possible title fight, but you won. You saw what happened with Woodley tonight. That's a guy that took the title from you. Do you feel like this win was enough to get you back in the mix for a title shot?
I'm not too worried about that. I need to work on myself, get better, and make sure I'm in better shape. And if I'm in better shape and can get in people's faces for 25 minutes, and I think I'm could be the best in the world.
You mentioned that you felt pretty confident you won the first and third. The second round, was it your conditioning? I mean, what changed in the second that he was able to kind of get a little bit of the momentum?
I talked to my coaches. Obviously, I wasn't pushing the pace, wasn't smothering them, giving them space. I was moving pretty good and deflecting his shots, but he was busier than me, and I wasn't dictating.
And I heard a lot of people afterwards saying, look, Robbie Lawler is back. You know, did you feel like there was some question about what you had left?
I don't really care what other people say or question or whatever. I look at myself in the mirror and I try to get better, and I have to look. I'm my own worst critic, and that's all that matters.
And lastly, Robbie, I mean, what type of fight does make sense for you next? I mean, this was stylistically one that everybody was looking forward to, but are you looking for something that might entertain fans or something that might get you closer to that title shot in case you're ready for it?
I'm just going to go home and relax, spend some time with my family, and then go see my buddy, and that's all I'm thinking about.
Robbie, you had a different walkout song than normal, coming out to Ain't No Grave by Johnny Cash. What made you change that up?
I think it's just something I like. I like that song. It's a good song. I think hopefully everyone liked it, but I like it, so.
Robbie over here. I'm curious. This was your first fight with Henry in your corner. How did that feel, having a new cornerman, and what sort of advice was he able to give you in between rounds?
He did a great job. My corner and my coaches and my training partners did a great job of getting me ready for this fight. I just need to do a little bit better and be in better shape, and we're just going to build from here. Been a little bit of a layoff, but I felt all right out there. I was pretty relaxed. I'll just get better.
And was there any surprise that Donald was able to take you down?
Not really. I'm not too worried about it. Take it easy, guys.
Tanya, you waited a long time to make your UFC debut. I'm sure things didn't go the way you'd hoped tonight, but how did you feel overall? Just the comfort level of walking to the UFC, walking to the octagon, and the overall experience.
I felt great. Really, no excuses. I just feel like I fought like a pussy, but it is what it is. So.
I think most people say just the opposite. That yes, you may have gotten hurt pretty early, but you battled back and showed a lot more than most people that didn't know who you were would give you credit for. I mean, do you take any solace in the fact that you were able to push her a little bit and show your resiliency and your durability?
I'm just disappointed I didn't at least go 5 rounds. I think that I don't know why I went down. I don't know why I didn't get up. I don't know. No excuses really.
We talk about not fighting the way you'd hoped. I mean, we talk a lot about Cyborg and her aura and her intimidation and her presence. I mean, when you got in there and stood across the cage, was it more than you expected?
No, I mean, I expected her to be as good as she was. I just expected more out of myself than anything.
I guess the bright side is, I'm assuming the next fight is at 135 pounds. Maybe you talked to the UFC yet? Did they let you know, hey, of course, we're gonna have you back. We're gonna do this at 135?
Yeah, next fight is definitely at 35. Obviously, I'll fight anybody, so let's do it.
Tanya, here. What was the most challenging thing inside the octagon? Was like the new weight division? Was your opponent? Was like the bigger show? What was the most challenging thing there?
Obviously, just the weight difference. I think that I wasn't expecting her to be so heavy and so strong, but I knew she was going to be bigger than me. I just didn't expect it to be that much difference.
Hello, Tanya.
Hey.
Do you think it's possible for the UFC build like a really good 145?
I can't hear you.
Do you think it's possible for UFC build a 145 division, really good one?
To do a 145-pound division?
Do you think it's possible for the UFC build a 145-pound division?
Yeah, definitely. I just think that they got to pick up the girls for the other people do. All the other promotions, I think that the girls are running all over, signing with whoever they can get money offers from right off the bat. So I think that's kind of just what happened. But I think there's a lot of talent out there. And obviously I think when 25-pound division opens up, you'll see a lot of talent move around, and it's going to mix up the weight classes too. And obviously I think with the 45, as long as the girls aren't scared to fight, so.
And Tanya, you mentioned that you didn't fight like you feel like you wanted to. Do you think that co-headlining such a big card had an effect on your strategy and your game plan?
No. I just felt like I kind of beat myself. I felt like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, I felt like I was on the downside of that slope. Nothing was landing. I kind of felt like nothing I was doing was working. And to be honest, it wasn't anything, the show or anything, that got me off.
Thank you.
Hey, Tanya, I know you're very disappointed, but it has been a very long road for you, and there was a time maybe where you thought you didn't think maybe you would make it to this point. Is there any part of you that is allowing yourself to at least be proud that you made it to the UFC and went 3 rounds with Cyborg?
I just wanted to go 5 or win the fight is what I wanted. So, I don't know, just back to work, I guess. Y'all trying to make me cry up here.
Do you feel the sense that I got was that you gained a lot of respect from people? Like your toughness was just as much a story as her winning the title. Have you sensed that at all? Have you received that kind of feedback?
I mean, yeah, but, I just feel disappointed in not making it 5 rounds. That sucks.
So that would have been a moral victory for you, just going the distance with her?
Yeah, I just wanted to go the distance or prove I was tough enough too.
Right. And lastly, any serious injuries?
No.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, obviously congratulations on your win. This has been such a long journey to get here, a lot of starts and stops, times that it seemed it would be impossible for you to be a UFC champion. So now that you've had a few minutes to soak it in and think about it and maybe spend some time with the belt, how does this moment feel for you?
You know, I think the UFC belt coming in perfect time. You know, I think I'm in prime my career. In the fight, I feel very relaxed, and then, you know, before I throw like 50 punches and touching my opponent like 30 times, but now I see more and I see, you know, where I can punch, sweep the punch too, and you know, I feel great. I feel really happy, and be part of this. This is ended one chapter in my career, and then you're gonna begin the, you know, new things in my career. I'm really happy, very blessed.
When you fight, it is very much like Mike Tyson. People expect you to get the job done early. And you seem to say that you're happy, that you're more patient in picking your shot. So the fact that this went to the third round, does that upset you at all, or are you comfortable with your performance tonight?
You know, my team always said, relax, Chris, you can show a little bit your game, because then watching me at the gym every day. And then I have wrestling, I have jiu-jitsu, I'm a brown belt jiu-jitsu, and people think I just throw punches, you know, and if we're lucky, I kill girls. And then they always then tell me, Chris, relax, you know, do something, you can improve your game too. But you cannot think like that, you know. I think you have a lot of experience, you getting better at this, but I was never thinking about that. But today I feel very relaxed, I feel good, I feel very, very good.
And I know you want to enjoy this moment, but you're used to being a champion, and that means facing new challengers. What does make sense? This division is still so new. We're still sorting it out. I mean, Megan Anderson was supposed to be here. Is that the fight that makes the most sense to you? What fight makes sense for your first defense?
You know, same the 135 pounds, then start with Ronda, and start a little bit, and now then make the division. I think the 145, they're going to be the same. And I'm happy to be part of this. And, you know, I can fight anybody UFC going to put front of me. You know, I'm going to keep training, keep you ready, and be like I'm keep training and be the number contender one, always training for keep the belt.
Chris, congratulations. Was she tougher than you thought she would be?
Huh?
Was Tanya tougher than you thought she would be?
No, I knew she's a tough girl. I think she's top 10 135. You know, I'm really happy she's have the big opportunity to be big platform like UFC, and did the first fight. And I hope she have the opportunity in her division. But she did great. I know her. I watch her fights. She have a heart. And I knew with her I can show a little bit more my game, my kicks, move, relax. I knew she was gonna be a tough girl. I know she's not gonna quit to one punch.
When you were dreaming about becoming a UFC champion, did it feel the way it feels now?
This dream is a long time ago. I had this dream, but a lot of things coming in my career, and man, I'm very thankful to have this opportunity to be the third belt, different organization, you know, and I feel very happy, you know, I'm very blessed. And the first day I start training, I keep training. I mean, 12 years, I start 2005 training. I keep the training same way. Every day, I train every day, learn every day, never stop, because I know people watch me for want to beat me, and I keep just training, they invest, and I know the day you're gonna come, and today the day.
And you didn't want to talk about it much beforehand, but your contract is up in October. What do you think is going to happen now?
I don't know. I'm gonna have a meet soon for sure, and I don't know. I just think about now. I'm really happy with this victory, and then after that, for sure, you know, we're gonna have news.
Do you want to resign?
I'm really happy about today, and let's see. You know, I think we will start working together, and I think it's gonna getting better. And then today, I think that the fight. Then maybe they make it really happy. UFC happy work with me, and maybe we can work together. Yes.
And just one more. Who do you think would be next if you do resign? Who do you see as, because it doesn't sound like Megan would be ready anytime soon. Is there anyone on your mind?
No, I want to fight soon. I want to fight December.
No, Megan.
Megan.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like she'll be able to.
You know, I don't know about Megan. You know, I accept to fight her, and I don't know if she cannot come in. I cannot fight USA. Maybe I can fight Australia with her. I want to fight. You know, if you have fight, I don't know who we're gonna be. I never choose my opponent. I just wait, see who's UFC gonna put next.
Chris, we saw Tito was with you throughout the build-up. He's over here shooting right now. What does this relationship mean to you? I guess, you know, what has he brought to you, and how does it feel to have such a special relationship with, you know, a manager and a friend?
You know, I met Tito. We trained together at the Kleber Jiu-Jitsu gym, and then he's tried to triangle me, and I pick up him and boom, that bad stack him. And then after that, I think when he's top fighting, he started to be managed. He's remember about this day, and he's contact me with George Progin, and then we start. He's coming perfect time. I really upset everything with my career, and he said I want to help you, and he's giving the hand, and then you know everything he showed me, and then help me. I just get the opportunity and keep training, and he's just keep training. He say this day you're gonna come. This day today I'm the world champion, UFC champion. He told me when we start work together. And then I'm really thankful we like brothers. And then he's not just the manager, he's my coach too. And he teach me wrestling and a lot of elbows. I don't throw today, but we know a lot of elbows. I'm learning, getting better. And you know, I'm really happy, very blessed to have him in my life and be part of my team. And he's champion with me.
What's it gonna mean to you to bring that belt back to Brazil?
Hey, I think everybody, you know, it'll be two champs, Brazilian champ, me and Amanda. And I was in Brazil, then wait so long for watch the fights. And, you know, it'll be amazing, everybody wait for. You know, I think I'm very thankful for all my fans because they make the opportunity to fight in UFC 140, catchweight. And now if they put this belt with me now because they make this. And I'm very thankful for all my fans.
Chris, you've had a lot of stuff go on outside of the cage since you've been in the UFC. A lot of headlines, a lot of people saying things about you, the incident. Do you have anything to say about all that now, just based on your performance, being a champion, and just knowing that you take care of business when you're in there, and that speaks for itself louder than anything else that you've said or had said about you?
You know, a lot of things I read and say about me, I use this for motivate me. Because the first day that people say a lot of bad things about me, I was quit. I was not be here with this belt. You know, this belt is not just means like I'm the world champion. I'm not be just the world champion in the UFC, but the world champion in the life. Like if you have good time now, bad time, you cannot quit. You have to keep going and use everything. Then use against you for you keep going, and you're gonna get a victory. This belt means this for me. Never quit.
Cris, por tudo que você passou, por toda a sua história de vida, por tudo que você superou, quando você acha que vai cair a ficha que você é campeã do UFC e o que você vê daqui para frente, o que você representa para o MMA feminino daqui para frente?
Na verdade, desde o começo que eu comecei a lutar, eu não estava lutando só para mim, eu estava lutando já para todas as mulheres. Esse era o caminho de mostrar que as mulheres podem lutar como os homens, elas podem ser técnicas como os homens. Então, esse foi meu gol. E uma das coisas foi abrir categoria para mais mulheres e está acontecendo. Eu fico feliz de ser uma das pioneiras fazendo isso. E ser campeã agora do UFC, eu fico muito feliz porque eu treinei muito para isso. E agradeço a todos os meus fãs que foram eles que fizeram isso. Sou muito grato a eles, agradecer a Deus pela oportunidade. Na verdade, a gente tem que dar os 90% treinar e 10% Deus faz para você. E estou muito realizado.
O Brasil agora tem 2 cinturões, num esporte tão masculino, a gente tem 2 cinturões com 2 mulheres. O que isso representa para você?
Representa que as mulheres, se elas são determinadas, elas conseguem o que elas querem. Se tem disciplina, vai conseguir o que quer.
Obrigada.
Nada.
Oi, Cris.
Oi.
Perguntando em cima do que a Evelyn perguntou, você acha que agora o Brasil com apenas 2 cinturões femininos, o que isso representa para o esporte no Brasil, para o MMA no Brasil? O quanto isso pode influenciar, aumentar o número de academias ou praticantes?
Eu acho que o MMA feminino está crescendo muito. Até quando eu vou para o Brasil, eu vou dar seminários, tem muito mais mulheres do que homens. Eu acho que as pessoas estão gostando cada vez mais de ver mulheres lutando. E você vê que a maioria dos main events é mulheres que estão lutando. E acredito que vai crescer muito mais, vai ter novas atletas, assim como o masculino começou, a jiu-jitsu contra boxe, vai ter mais atletas, mais meninos vão querer lutar e eu acho que só vai crescer o esporte cada vez mais. Acabou? Tá. Thank you guys. Boa noite.
Yeah. That's why I was trying to grab him. That was you? That's why I kept trying to go like, hey, hey, hey. I guess, kind of what happened early on and what your mindset was to be hurt right at the start of the fight.
Yeah, in my second takedown attempt, you know, he got me with uppercut. I didn't felt dizzy, but my eyes closed, and that was unlucky in the beginning of the fight, you know, really early, but was something that happens, and, you know, I just keep going and I keep trying to do my best. Was very hard to grab his leg, was really slippery, and he was defending pretty well.
Was your vision impacted at all as the fight was going on? I mean, could you see out of that left eye?
A little bit, but I don't think that was the reason that, you know, impact. I think he did the perfect game plan, and I was trying to pressure, and I also connect some you know, punches, but wasn't enough to make him feel and to connect my takedowns.
I'm sure you heard the crowd during the fight. Was that disappointing at all? Because it seemed to be more, I think, aimed towards him, that he wasn't coming forward to finish the fight versus necessarily your efforts, which are always what you do.
Yeah, I was trying all the fight. You know, the 5 rounds I was trying, and I came here to win. I have no excuse, but I tried to pressure all the fight. I got some punches, but I tried to pressure, tried to take him down, tried to punch him all the 5 rounds.
And last thing for me, it was such a long road to get here. I think a lot of people wonder what comes next for you. I know this is very early, but I mean, do you see yourself getting back in there? I mean, you worked so hard to get back to this title fight. Is there a possibility that that was the last time we'll see you, or do you feel like you still have this passion to do this?
No, unfortunately to the guys in my division, I will keep going, and I have more energy, you know, to burn, and I want to keep going a little bit more, and I don't know, let's see what happens. You know, they are thinking about opening 165, 175, let's see. I never give up, and I will, you know, I come to this fight with 5 weeks notice, and I leave this fight with my head up.
Damian, back here. He clearly grabbed the fence twice when it looked like you could have scored on takedowns. The first time he got a warning, the second time looked like it was missed. How frustrating is that to you, knowing how difficult it was to take him down when that clearly happened on times when you could have succeeded, and how do you think it would have changed the fight?
It's hard to say ifs, but if I could take him down at least once, I knew that, you know, I had a chance to submit him, or at least to make him really tired and hard to come back. But rules are rules. If he grabbed the fence once and the referee just give a warning and don't deduct a point, that's the rule, so I have nothing to complain. If they change the rules, like, you know, you grab the fence and right away they deduct a point, then will be better, I think, for me at least. But the referee always give a warning before, and it happens before in other fights. And of course it can change the way that the fight goes, but, you know, it's always if, so I don't know.
Damian, your technique and your strategy of taking guys down has been successful, you know, for the last 7 fights, taking down some of the best guys in the division. Can you explain a little bit the difference between the guys that you took down before, Carlos, Matt, Gunnar, and then Tyron, who you couldn't take down?
I think there is two things playing a role here. Every fight that I won from the last 7 fights, I went to train wrestling in the United States in New Jersey. And for this fight, I couldn't do that because it was so short notice. It was just 5 weeks. So, of course, this played a little role. One of my coaches, Coach Hammer, he came to Brazil. You know, he lives in New Jersey, and he came to Brazil to help me. But it's always better when you come here. And when I come here and train at Edge, because I train with all those top-level wrestlers, like I did for my previous 7 fights before this one. And the other thing is that his balance, or his center of gravity, is very low, and he's really strong. And of course, you know, it's play a role that makes it harder to take him down. So I need to be really sharp to take him down. And he defended well. You know, he defended pretty well the takedowns. I couldn't do a variation that I usually do and take him down or go to his back.
And going into the fight, you know, obviously Tyron was mentioning that you're a specialist in jiu-jitsu. He was calling himself a specialist in MMA, but when he put you on the ground in the second round, he chose not to follow you there. What does that really say about a guy that calls himself a specialist in MMA, but is sort of not willing to go to the ground with you?
Oh, he of course he's smart. It's his game plan. He's never gonna go. It was not an option for him. He knew if he was going to the ground with me, it would be much harder for him. That's why, you know, he's a smart competitor, you know, and I have nothing but respect for him. I like I said, I don't want to give any excuse. I just came there. I did my best and I lost.
And I'm just curious, which title fight was more frustrating for you, to fight Anderson or to fight Tyron this time?
No, I think Anderson for sure, because Anderson I couldn't do too much, you know. It was hard to, you know, close the distance with him. With Tyron try, how can I say? I think it was a little bit more, more, you know, back and forth, this fight tonight.
Damian?
Fala, Thiago.
Ele mencionou essa luta, né? Bom, foram suas duas oportunidades de disputar o cinturão. É claro que são situações completamente diferentes, mas as duas terminaram por pontos. Vocês, vamos dizer, lutas frustrantes e vaiado pela torcida. Você acha que, de alguma forma, um pouco triste pode, de repente, marcar a sua carreira? Ou se acha que isso pode, de repente, atrapalhar no futuro para conseguir novas chances?
Não, eu acho que... Eu acho que o que aconteceu foi... Eu não sinto que eu fui vaiado hoje. Eu sinto que talvez acho que ele foi vaiado por andar muito para trás. E eu acho que o legado que eu trago e que eu trouxe do jiu-jitsu para o MMA é uma coisa que está construída, e eu não acho que isso vai mudar na minha vida no médio e no longo prazo. Eu vou continuar trabalhando com jiu-jitsu, vou continuar fazendo meus projetos, e não acho que eu saio pior dessa luta. Eu perdi, como todo mundo perde, né? Até acho que eu poderia ter ganho 2 rounds, ele 3, mas ele é o campeão do mundo, não era uma luta fácil, eu sabia disso. Eu cheguei lá para fazer o melhor, e não é todo dia que a gente ganha. Eu vinha ganhando 7 lutas seguidas, e uma hora você perde.
Certo. Minha última pergunta. Você mencionou, de repente, essas novas categorias que estão por vir. Você tem algo mais concreto que você possa dizer? Qual te interessaria mais? E se, de fato, é um dos seus planos para o futuro próximo?
Na verdade, assim, tem que ver se o UFC vai adotar essas categorias, né, cedo. Mas se adotar, eu acho que 175 poderia ser uma opção, ou até mesmo 165 se eu conseguisse bater o peso. Mas eu não sei ainda, não tenho essas informações ainda de quando que o UFC vai adotar essas categorias novas.
Damian, how is your eye feeling?
It's good. It's just swallow, but you know, my eye is just, you know, the skin outside here, and my eyes is all healthy. You know, there's no problem. It's like, I think in 5 days it will gone, and I will be all good again to train.
So nothing broken?
No, nothing broken. It was not. It was just, you know, a short punch that got me on my takedown attempt the second time, and that's what hurt my eyes, the skin below my eyes. But I have nothing hurt in my head or my face or my bones, nothing.
Were you able to see out of that eye throughout the fight?
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's nothing with my eye. Okay. It's just the under the skin. I was able to see during the fight. You know, in one point when it's closed, it's kind of sometimes a little blurry because of all the lights, and it's a little bit hard. But you know, you can keep going.
And I know you say that you leave with your head held high, but do you believe that if you would have had more time to prepare for this fight, that you would have won? Do you feel like the fight would be drastically different if you had a normal training camp for a title fight?
Yeah, of course. if you think about probabilities, I think I would increase my probability to win the fight if I had more time, a longer camp. But I don't want to complain. That was my chance, and I accept the chance. I came here and did what I need to do.
Damian, cage side, it appeared that the low kicks had an effect on your movement. Was that the case? Did that become a factor in the later rounds?
The Tyron low kicks?
Yes, the couple of low calf kicks. That
No, I didn't feel at all. I think he threw how many? Like 2, 3?
2 or 3, I believe.
Yeah, no, I didn't feel at all. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, Damian, how big of a factor was his speed and power on your jiu-jitsu game and executing it well enough to get him down and get him into your realm?
I think it was not the speed, but more the power, the hips and the hip defense that was hard, and how he, escape and pull his leg. That was hard. I don't think. I knew his punches and I knew what he was going to do. I was able to block most of the punches and I was able to get him with some punches also. But I think the power of his hips and how he defends takedown, that's what was hard. And during the fight started to get really slippery, so was getting even harder.
And if given a longer time to train for this fight, what do you think you could have done to better prepare for that power?
Yeah, what I said, maybe for sure if I had more time I would come to United States for a couple weeks like I always do, to the Edge Academy to train wrestling in New Jersey for a couple weeks. And it's always a big factor on my camp.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, guys. Good night.
Congratulations, Tyron, on your win.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it, brother.
We know what the crowd thought of the fight. Give me your opinion. What did you think of your performance tonight?
Shit, I thought it was a great performance. You got a guy on a 7-fight win streak. He's taken out all 7 opponents, world-class guys, got on their back, submitted them. Very resilient, very persistent on his attack. I was able to go out there and stop everything. How many takedowns did he try?
I think that. 24. So I think we saw 24 at one
24 tried, 24 denied. So I think we need to look at the different stats. This is my 4th title fight, in 12 months. He shot 24 times, and thinking of how many different top-class welterweights he would have been able to put on the ground. He was not able to do any of that on me. I felt good. I felt my conditioning was great. We accepted this fight 4 weeks ago, and, man, I felt amazing. Sometimes I think those shorter camps are better. So me and my coaches were happy. I know our fans, they want to see blood. They want to see cuts. They want to see a back-and-forth exchange. You also have to recognize that I'm fighting specialists. You know, Stephen Thompson, I'm not going to sit out there and try to out-spin kick him. I'm not going to try to take down Damian Maia and prove that, hey, it's time for me to get a black belt. The brown belt's going to take you down and go for the submission. So I felt like it was a very tactical fight. I felt like I did everything, stuck to the game plan, and I walk around with my head up, man, and the belt still around my waist.
You had him hurt incredibly early in the fight. You busted up his eye pretty good. Did you feel like maybe you were going to finish him in that first round?
Yeah, I felt like I was going to finish him. I threw an overhand right in the second round. First or second round, my shoulder slipped out. And I was like, oh, shit. So I can't hit him with this overhand right, which is my moneymaker. So I had to throw straight punches. A couple other times after that, I saw it opening, and I had to throw it just because out of reaction. I threw it again and kind of slipped out. So 2 or 3 times I felt like my shoulder kind of slipped out. So I had to really be disciplined to use a lot of feints. And if you guys saw me, a couple of times you saw me come forward. It looked like I was going to throw the right hand, and I had to really, really guess on, like second guess whether I should throw it or not, or just proceed with pushing forward. So that's what champions do, man. We go out there and I fought a fight, I broke my foot the first kick of the fight against Kelvin Gastelum, and I had to go out there and I had to finish the fight. So I'm very, very happy in my condition, and very happy in my coaching and game plan, and just the mental toughness.
And last thing for me, Tyron, I know you didn't want to talk about George St. Pierre before the fight, but you're willing to mention him afterwards. It sounds like he's really campaigning for a fight with Michael Bisping, doesn't want anything else. I mean, how does that impact you? I know you want to prove that you're the greatest welterweight of all time, and that would seem to be an opportunity to do it. So what's your opinion when he's trying to get this Michael Bisping fight instead?
Well, I said that earlier when we had the press conference, because I listened to Bisping podcast, and he had his best friend George on there, and they were talking about fighting each other in a very kumbaya fashion. So with that said, I had already kind of put that out the back of my mind. If I think too much down the road, as I did when I fought Rory McDonald, I was thinking about, hey, if you beat Rory, you fighting for the world title, and I went out there and got my butt whooped. So I like to focus and give my opponent the respect he deserves. He's in that position for a reason. I gave him the respect, and now he should have to fight me. If you were the best welterweight of all time, you're going to come back into the sport and go up a weight class. I guarantee you if Damian Maia would have won, he would have been talking about fighting Damian Maia. I guarantee you if Stephen Thompson would have won, he would have been looking to fight Stephen Thompson. He doesn't want to fight me because I'm a better version of him.
Tyron, apparently Dana White was asked just a few minutes ago whether or not this performance was going to affect the potential GSP fight, to which he replied, absolutely, and he said it means good things for Bisping. If you could give your initial thoughts on that particular quote, and then also, if GSP isn't next, who do you have on your radar next?
Did you hear my reply at the press conference when he said I was fighting GSP next if I won? I said these guys have already been talking about fighting. It's a very it's like Dory the fish. Everybody have a very short-term memory. When was the last time Michael Bisping fought? You know what I mean? Think about it. Like really, I fought 4 world title fights against the number 1 contenders. Has he ever fought a number 1 contender? I fought the number 1 contender twice. I fought the number 1 contender after that. And I fought the world champion, who was Robbie Lawler, time before that. I'm the only one that's going by the old set of rules. So if it's not George St. Pierre, let him run. But guess what? Whoever you put in front of me, I'm going to run through them. I'm going to beat them. And if he does not fight me, by default, I will be the best welterweight of all times.
And by the use of your feints and some of the head movement, it looked like your time at Wild Card definitely improved some of your striking. Is that something that you plan on keeping as a part of your regular camp?
Yeah, I've been doing it for 8 years. A lot of people I just don't talk about, everything that I do. I got a large family. I have a home in St. Louis, so I can't get to LA as much as I can. So if I just go and boast about all my training at Wild Card, someone that's single, they don't have any kids, they can just travel there and spend months and months and months. So I just didn't want to give up that competitive advantage. But it was a couple times where, I faded back, threw a right hand. He hit me with a left hand. I kind of baited him to throw it again. I slipped it. I threw a right hand, knocked him down. And, I felt like tonight a true martial artist can appreciate the performance that was put on tonight. I love our fans, but you guys know what they want to see. They want to see blood, cut, gore, back. They don't even want to see a lopsided fight. They want to see one person almost winning, other person coming back almost winning. Both guys look like they're about to die, and at the very end, they do 10 seconds of just standing in the middle, punching each other and raise their hand. That's their ideal of a great fight.
Tyron, the fight was only announced 5 weeks ago, but prior to that, you had actually been hinting that you were going to fight in July for quite some time. Is there any particular reason why it took so long to book Damian? Was there something else that you were considering going into this?
You know, it wasn't really that I was considering. It's just the fact that, you know, you speak things into existence. You know, ask Ariel how many times I've told him that I was going to fight somebody or I felt like somebody was going to maybe get injured. I might be pulling up in a car. Man, I'm almost prophetic with it. So I kept campaigning for July 29, July 29, July 29. And I think Damian, just because of training camps, fighting, some seminars, some other commitments, I think he wanted to wait. But in this sport, you can't wait as a contender. You don't know when you're going to get another shot. You don't know if an injury is going to happen or what the heck's going to happen. So you got to step up. You got to step up to the plate, and you got to go out there and show everybody you're the best. We was given the same amount of time. You know, he came out. He even landed, like, I got some knots on my face. He landed some good straight lefts. And from a jiu-jitsu guy, you wouldn't expect that. So shout out to him. He never stopped attempting to take me down. He never stopped attempting to push forward. And, you know, with a lot of time, I felt like our conditioning on both parties looked really good.
If you're so prophetic, what do you prophesize next?
I prophesied whooping somebody's ass that they put in the octagon against me. And I don't know who it's going to be because, obviously, I'm not pulling the strings behind the curtain, but that's what I prophesied.
During the fight, the fans started to get their cell phone lights out. I'm curious, could you actually see that from the cage, and was that distracting in any way?
Man, nothing distracts me when I'm in there. You can boo. I've never seen a boo enter the octagon and help my opponent double team me. I've never seen it help them get the victory. I've never seen it take me off my rocker. I got to be focused like Flint because this is the best division in the world. These guys, like how many fight win streak was Stephen Thompson on when I fought him in New York? 6, 7? 7. Okay? You think he beat 7 bums? Or did he beat out the current interim champion, Robert Whitaker? Did he beat Patrick Cote? Did he beat Johnny Hendricks? Did he beat Roy McDonald? What's the difference? These guys aren't going to look good against me because I do my homework. I respect them as opponents. I pick their tools, and I don't let them use their tools against me. And then I force them to deal with my power, my speed, and that's what we saw in this fight, and that's what you're going to continue to see.
And when you knocked Damian down in the second round, how close were you to following him down there and finishing it up?
Natural reaction, I wanted to kind of go down there and get a couple punches in there, but the logic came in and say, is it really worth it to go down there and have him jump half guard, deep half guard, grab your back, and now you're fighting a whole different battle than just grabbing 2 punches real quick.
Afterwards on FS1, you said your shoulder was bothering you. Did that impact your fight, and how bad is it, do you think so?
You know, I'm not a doctor, and I don't have an MRI machine, so I'm not going to diagnose myself. Obviously, I want, to fight in November, so I'm going to get an MRI on Monday. Sometimes, I don't know if you guys have ever had a shoulder injury, but I've torn my left labrum before, and after you tear it, occasionally it slips out of socket. So it didn't feel like it did when I actually tore my labrum on the left side, but it felt like it slipped out of socket a couple times. And then I threw 2 or 3 other punches, and when I connected and landed, it kind of went out of socket. So I'm just hoping that with some ice, some ibuprofen, some rest, sling this baby up for a couple of days, I should be okay. So I'm just hoping that everything's good, and I'll be ready to fight in November.
Hey, Tyron, I'm just wondering if you got a chance to see any of the Cowboy Lawler fight, and if you did, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
I saw a few clips. I try not to watch. I try not to watch a lot of other fights when I'm fighting because I don't want my emotions to get high. I don't want to get low. I don't want to get too excited. I want to just focus on my fight. I saw a few clips of it. I thought the second round looked like both guys kind of was almost taking off a little bit. It looked like Robbie came out really strong in the first round in the beginning. Cowboy landed. Did he land a takedown in the first round? Landed a takedown, so that round was kind of close. And then I think he got poked in the eye in the third, and Robbie kind of took it away. So I didn't get to see every moment of it, but I mean, both of those guys came out to fight when they're mentally strong and mentally ready. I think they both are, top fighters for a reason.
Tyron, if it's not GSP, who do you think makes sense? Is there anyone that it's not very clear as to who would be the number 1 contender?
Yeah, I think the clarity should just be yours. It shouldn't. like, I don't understand how you have an interim title, right? You got Robert Whittaker, who just beat Yoel Romero after, I think he probably suffered a small knee injury. He went out there resiliently and beat a very, very tough Yoel Romero. He deserved to fight Bisping next. How long is Bisping gonna milk this knee injury? Is his knee severed, or what the hell is going on? He should be fighting the number one contenders like I've had to do. You think Stephen Thompson's an easy fight, or Damian Maia? These guys are world beaters. So if you don't have to participate and use the same old school rubric of fighting the number one contender, then why should I? But let me say something about fighting Nick Diaz, Georges St. Pierre. The internet is gonna flip. Oh, you need to fight more, more guys first before you get a super fight. So as I said earlier, whoever they put in front of me, I'm just gonna beat them. Then the next person, I'm gonna beat them. And before it's said and done, just look at my belt. I got so many notches on my belt already that nobody gives me credit for. The Carlos Condit, the Robbie Lawlers, the Paul Daly's, the Tarek Safadines, the Dong Young Kims, the Kelvin Gassalims, Robbie Lawler, Stephen Thompson, Damian Maia. Like, all these guys get the credit. And the champion don't ever get the credit. So guess what? I don't expect it. I'm just going to go out there, keep kicking ass, doing my thing, and I'll be the greatest when I walk away.
And just curious, when they have a plan for the next fight, they'll usually say it in the octagon after a win. They'll say, oh, you're next for this guy, etc. You mentioned GSP, but Joe never mentioned GSP and mentioned how, this was the least amount of strikes thrown in a title fight. Did you take that as an odd sign, like that this is kind of slipping away from you?
No, I don't think it's slipping away. I mean, if he doesn't want to fight me, he doesn't want to fight me. But I take it as a poor usage of stats. That's like somebody in the wrestling community say, "Oh, he led the conference in escapes." That means he got his ass taken down 1,000,000 times and he got an escape. How about you say you have the fastest KO in welterweight championship history? You have the highest takedown defense in welterweight history. You just fought a guy, 2 guys back to back that were on 7-fight win streaks, and you beat them convincingly. Let's pull out those stats. How many times have I been hurt? How many times have I been in danger? Those are stats that people don't recognize and they don't use. So with that said, I felt like it was a poor usage of stats. I don't think he meant anything by it. But I really never thought George was going to be like, oh, I win the fight, George is going to walk in the octagon and they announced that we're going to fight. I never had that, that emotion that was going to happen.
And finally, more to that point, not to put you on the spot, but on Twitter, BT Sport just said that Dana told them that George is going to fight Bisping next. So what is your reaction to that?
I have no reaction to that, my man. I said it earlier in the press conference earlier this week when that comment was made. And, I said exactly what I saw. I listened to the podcast. I can read between the lines. I'm a very smart guy. And I have no reaction to it. The next person that steps in front of me, I'm going to beat him. That's it. Got it? All right, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys.
All right, we did 16,610. The gate was 2.5 million. The bonus is fight of the night. For the Ortega fight was fight of the night. And the Volkan and Jones did the performance of the night. They all won $50,000. Who's first?
Dana, Jon Jones is back. Had a pretty spectacular performance this evening. Can you just talk about what you thought watching that fight unfold?
He looked incredible. To do what he did tonight with as much time off as he's had, and even in the, if you look at the OSP fight, he didn't look like a world beater in that fight. He looked like he had, his timing wasn't there. He had a lot of ring rust. Man, he looked, tonight, in my opinion, he looked like he hasn't taken any time off, hasn't skipped a beat, and he went in against a very in-shape, motivated, mentally strong, because Cormier truly believed that the ring rust and all these other things were going to be there tonight, and they weren't. Great fight.
Afterwards, I think we were kind of surprised to hear leading up to this fight that you hadn't talked to Jon Jones very much. I mean, with all the things that have happened. So I wonder afterwards, have you had a chance to speak with him, and has he kind of earned your confidence again, I guess?
It's normal, you know. I was upset about 200 and, many other things. And, because I was upset, he was upset, or whatever the deal is, it happens. And, there was no need for either of us to talk anyway. Doesn't matter here. I've said it many times. Tito Ortiz fought here for a long time, and we weren't best friends. So it's all good.
And afterwards, he had the surprise call out of Brock Lesnar in there with the mic drop moment. I guess, what did you think as that was unfolding? And is this something you would entertain?
I guess Lesnar just talked to the AP and said, "Be careful what you wish for, young man." So listen, Lesnar would take 6 months for him to even go through USADA to fight. So it's fun to talk about, but the reality of it happening anytime soon, it's not a reality.
I guess the opposite side of that scenario was Woodley's win tonight. It certainly didn't necessarily entertain the crowd quite as much. What did you think watching that fight?
About watching what fight?
The Woodley fight and then beating Maya.
What did you think about watching the Woodley fight? Listen, when you break a record for the least punches ever thrown in a 5-round fight, in a title fight, and you beat it by, it was like 130, and these guys threw 60 or something like that, I mean, I think that sums it up.
And I guess we're seeing reports that you've been saying in some other interviews backstage that GSP, who you said was next in line for this winner, is no longer next in line. He's fighting Michael Bisping.
Yep.
Is that definitive?
Yep. There you go.
Do we have a date set for that?
Because I know Michael Bisping will fight. Michael Bisping will show up and he will fight. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to him.
Do we have a date set for that yet?
No.
Okay. And just last thing for me, not necessarily related to the card, but the things that were happening this week. Weight classes, new weight classes were recommended recently. I know this is a big night and you've got time to think about, but you've been opposed to that in the past. Would you be open to that moving forward? Maybe some new divisions in the UFC?
Nope.
Dana, what's it mean to the UFC to get Jones back? I mean, he obviously had so many successful pay-per-views in the first place, and after this 30-month basic hiatus, being back.
What about pay-per-views?
Just you get Jones back as a pay-per-view draw for the company. What's it mean to the company to have him back?
Tonight was a big night. Tonight is trending over 1 million buys. So it's a big night. It was a great card. It's one of the best cards we've ever done on paper and in person. So, yeah, it's good to have him back. Yeah, it's good.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what your decision was on Tyron's victory? I mean, I guess he can say a win is a win, and he was up here talking about all the takedown defenses he had. He said, It
is true. We just had a little talk in the back, Oh, GSP just texted me. He said, I heard you were talking about my performance. I said, you broke a record tonight. I mean, that speaks for itself. He said, well, this guy had however many, 17 takedown attempts or something like that. And I said, yeah, and not one of them were close. You fought them all off. The guy had one eye in the first round, and you're faster, you're stronger, your hands are better, explosive, I believe Woodley could have finished that in the first round. If not, he definitely could have finished in the second round. If you had a remote control for that guy, he's a freak of nature. He'd be an incredible fighter. And it's easy to say a win is a win. But when you get booed out of an arena, it means people don't want to watch you fight, you know? And that's how you make a living. It's not good if people don't want to watch you fight.
Dana, can you please explain to us exactly what happened after the main event when Daniel Cormier appeared to be really frustrated and you had to say something to him?
Yeah, no, he was telling me that the fight was stopped prematurely, and he was freaking out on the referee. And the reality is that Cormier was out of it and didn't really know what had happened. He didn't know he got knocked out till he saw it on the replay. And realistically, if you look at that fight, he was saying it was stopped prematurely. Could have been stopped 4 or 5 punches sooner than it was. So I was just trying to get him to calm down and relax. And then he kept saying, "Why is Dana yelling at me?" And then when he saw it on the replay, that was when he found out that he had got knocked out.
And how difficult was it to decide on fight of the night with Curran and Albo also on the card?
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. You know, there were so many great fights tonight, and obviously, you know, the Cerrone and Lawler fight was incredible. But in my opinion, I don't know what you guys think. It's you know, but I just thought that Ortega fight was ridiculous. I mean, those guys were standing toe to toe, blasting each other. Both guys had incredible chins. Both guys were lighting each other up, and then it ends the way that it did in that submission. I felt that was fight of the night.
Yeah, Dana.
Yeah.
You mentioned Tyron getting booed out of the arena. With George St. Pierre having such a loyal following, don't you think that fans would actually want to see Tyron actually go up against a GSP and lose?
You ask fans if they want to see Woodley fight again. I think that would be a flat-out no. Who wants to pay to see Tyron Woodley fight again? It's you know, he is an absolute physical specimen. The guy could have finished that fight at any time he wanted to, but, you know, he didn't want to take the risks. You take no risks, you get no rewards.
Dana, to your right. DC clearly wasn't himself in the immediate aftermath of the fight, but it looked like he was kind of put in the position and told to do the interview with Rogan anyway. Could you just clarify that? Was that the case, and what were your thoughts on that?
Did we think that his interview was what?
No, like it looked like he was put in the position where he was told to do the interview with Rogan in the octagon afterwards.
No, it was the exact opposite. Okay. They told Rogan not to do an interview with him, and Rogan did it.
He did it anyway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, you know, you got to let the guy talk, you know. It'd be one thing if I don't know. Yeah, I think you got to let the guy talk.
You mentioned a little bit about the stoppage as well. Did you think that it went on for a little bit too long?
Well, it's the complete opposite of what he had thought, where I thought it could have been stopped 3 or 4 punches or 5 punches earlier.
Thank
you. Down here in front, Dana. Where do you think Tyron goes from here then? Like, if he's not going to be fighting GSP next, do you think there's any contenders in that welterweight division?
I don't know. I don't. You know, I don't make fights the night of the fight, but I don't know. But you know, whoever's next, maybe Lawler.
Dana, what is next for Cyborg?
I don't know. I was just talking to Holly Holm back there, and what do you think, Holly? And it seems like she's interested. I like Holly versus Cyborg. I think it's a good fight.
What did you think of her performance tonight?
Think of Cyborg? Cyborg looked good. She was very composed. She didn't go out there crazy. She took her time, picked her shots, and, you know, I thought she looked good.
Dana, what did you make of Volkan Ozdemir's just ascent right here? Ascent in the UFC. It's been less than 5 months. He has these 3 straight wins, knocked out the guy who was going to be a replacement for this title fight if something happened in the main event. Do you see him as a guy who's ready for a title shot now, or when you look at that division, do you think, you know, an Alexander Gustafsson might be next?
He's looked damn good, damn good. I guess Alexander tweeted out, you know, quit calling out retired fighters. I'm right here. I'm ready to go or something. So I like to hear that. But yeah, he looked incredible. I mean, the guy's coming out, and I freaked out and jumped out. I didn't see that coming. I definitely didn't see that coming.
and you guys announced the first event in mainland China today. I know you guys have been looking forward to doing an event there in a long time. What finally made this happen?
What's that? The fight in mainland China?
Yeah.
We've been working over there for a while now, trying to get this thing done, and we finally did. It isn't easy to navigate through China.
If GSP is getting Michael Bisping, I mean, there is an interim middleweight champion. Do you have any idea what you're planning on doing with Robert Whittaker?
I'm so sorry, man. Say that again.
Sorry, do you have any sort of plans for Robert Whittaker at this point?
Robert Whittaker?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Robert Whittaker's knee is, he took some damage to that knee, so he's going to be out for a little while.
But he still does he get the winner type of thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Brian Ortega, you get talked
So
about.
whoever wins that fight between GSP and Bisping, Whittaker will fight the winner.
And just looking at Brian Ortega as a whole, I mean, he's looked so good in the octagon. I mean, he's got great hair. Is he a guy who you kind of look at as being someone?
Yeah, he's incredible, man. His stand-up is good. He's got an unbelievable chin, and his jiu-jitsu is ridiculous off his back.
And with what Cyborg did tonight, obviously her contract's up eventually. I mean, is she someone you want to sit down with pretty soon?
Who do I want to sit down with?
With Cyborg.
With Cyborg?
She said that she needs to sit down with you guys because her contract is up.
Oh, is her deal done?
Not done. I think she has one more.
Oh, really? Yeah. I guess I better then.
Okay. And sorry, finally, one more. Daniel Cormier, obviously Jon, said some nice words about him. Cormier had said he needed to win to kind of cement his legacy. Just, as the president of this company, when you look back at his 2-year reign as champion, how do you want people to kind of remember him?
You talking about Jon Jones?
Daniel Cormier.
Daniel Cormier? Yeah, Daniel Cormier is one of the best to ever do it. I loved how Rogan said, this is basically Ali versus Frazier. So true for MMA. Two of the best. Daniel Cormier had never lost at heavyweight and had only lost to Jon Jones at light heavyweight, had defended the title. But I truly believe that Jon Jones is the best to ever do it. I think he's the best ever. And had he not had these things go wrong in his personal life, God knows who he would have beat and what he would have done by now. But without a doubt, the best. I mean, to come off after such a huge layoff and all kinds of issues and problems and to do what he did tonight, man, it's just, he's the best to ever do it.
Dana, just wondering, with yesterday you saying that the Bisping GSP fight had sailed and today obviously that being switched.
That ship turned around and fucking sailed back.
I was just wondering if you could clarify when exactly that decision was made to turn the ship
fucking round 5.
Does this affect Tyron's chances in the future going forward at landing big fights if he does want to, say, fight Nick Diaz or GSP in the future?
I don't know. It definitely affected this fight. That's for sure. I know that Michael Bisping will show up and fight. No doubt about it.
Dana, prior to UFC 205, you were quite apprehensive to book 3 title fights on a show. Now you've done it twice in the span of, 10 months. Is this something that people can expect moving forward, these huge events with all these title fights? And then how do you really raise the bar going forward every time and for the second half of the year?
I'm so sorry, sir. What was give me the cliff notes of that question. It was...
Basically, will you continue to book 3 title fights now that you've done it twice successfully?
Okay, 3 title fights. Yeah, I don't know. It depends. It depends on where people land, and a lot of. So when we started this year, a ton of people had just fought. We did 3 title fights on the New York card, and had a couple of stack cards back to back. Then people got injured, and yada yada, and this is just the way it worked out. When it can happen, I will do it.
And it seems like this fight is the biggest victory for you guys this year. I mean, a huge success. How do you continue to raise the bar going into the second half of 2017?
How can I rate the second half of 2017?
Raise the bar for...
Raise the bar? I don't know. Well, the crazy thing about this business is fights always pop up that you would never expect and that you would never make in a million years. If you'd have told me 3 years ago that one of the biggest pay-per-views we'd ever done would be Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor, I'd be like... It's fucking ridiculous. How would those two end up fighting, But they did. Mayweather versus McGregor is crazy, You just never know. It happens. Go ahead. You want to go? What's up, buddy?
Not too much. How you doing?
Good.
Okay.
So when it comes to Woodley, he is going to have to fight. What did you think of Robbie Lawler, or is there anybody else that you're thinking of that maybe would be a good fight for Woodley?
Yeah, I mean, right now, off the top of my head, I would say Robbie Lawler. You know, he's not getting the GSP fight, but obviously the Robbie Lawler's a great fight too.
And as far as the Robbie Lawler-Cerrone fight, did you have it close? Did you have it for Robbie?
Yeah, I had it 1-1 going into the third round, and I gave the third round to Robbie.
Yeah, because the crowd seemed to think that Cerrone won, but it was a close fight.
Yeah, I just thought that third round, Lawler was pushing forward. He was throwing tons of punches. He was in his face the whole time. I thought he did more in the third.
Okay, cool.
How did you guys score the Jones fight? I had it 1-1. Yeah, everybody. Yeah, all right. Thank you guys. Have a great night. Do you have a question? Yeah.
So, one of the most controversial fighters in really history that fans don't really like to see and have called a boring fighter, but has always seemed to turn out spectators and fans and made a lot of money off of his career was a Floyd Mayweather. Would you not kind of compare the way Woodley was booed out of the arena to a fighter like that, and how people want to see Floyd Mayweather get beat, by the bigger fighters? And
Are you Woodley's agent?
I'm just saying maybe a GSP could come in and appease the fans, and maybe they would want to see him beat Woodley, and that would be a big draw.
Well, if he beats the two guys at 185, he can move down and beat Woodley. Cool? All right, thanks.
How are you guys?
Good. Jon, clearly a long journey for you to get back to this moment, and we could see the emotion immediately after in the cage, but you've had a little chance to let it soak in. I'm sure spend some time with your family. What are the emotions like right now?
Man, it's surreal. It's surreal to be back here in front of you all. Just more grateful than ever. At one point in my career, just took it all for granted and just, just dreaded doing some things like this. And now, after not having it and realizing how easily it could be all gone, not having this, I'm more grateful for every ounce of this process.
Incredibly quick start to the fight tonight. Were you anticipating it to be, that much of a barn burner right off the bat?
Yeah, I think, I heard Daniel say things like he wanted to show me right away that the 2 years will affect me and that I'm not meant to be here and things like that. So we knew that we knew there wasn't going to be a filling out process. We knew there wasn't going to be time for ring rest. We knew we were going to have to get straight to business, and that's what happened.
You said you were going to get the finish. I mean, did you envision that type of knockout, a high kick, finishing it the way you did? Did you see that as a possibility?
Yeah, we expected to finish Daniel Cormier. I said it in several interviews before the fight. There was a day in practice where we found 5 other guys who gives me the hardest time. And my coaches made me match up against all of them. They had 1 round each in 5 rounds. And I finished 3 out of the 5, which is something I have never been able to do before. I had 2 TKOs and a submission. And my coaches told me after that practice, they said, "Jon, you are stepping into your prime, my friend." And they said it's time for you to expect to finish fights, expect more out of yourself, both in your personal life and at work. And that's what I've been doing. I've been expecting more out of myself, holding myself to a higher standard, and I feel like it showed tonight.
Very classy address towards Daniel afterwards. I wonder, was that spontaneous, or was it something that's been weighing heavy on you that you wanted to get out there? I mean, obviously, pre-fight build-up isn't exactly the time to do that, but right. Was that something that just came to you all of a sudden, or had you wanted to get that out there?
Well, I've always felt that way about Daniel, but it was spontaneous. I've always felt like he's a pretty classy guy. Guy to be respected. Stand-up champion, model champion. But unfortunately, you know, I came into this game at a young age with big ideas. And despite how good of a person he is, there's no mercy in combat. And I have to do what I have to do. All right, it's either me or him. And so, you know, what happened happened. But he should be respected, and I don't think he should ever be questioned whether he was a true champion or not. In my absence, he fought two of the toughest guys in the division. He won those fights, and he carries himself like a champion. So I think that should be recognized.
Last thing for me, John, the call out of Brock Lesnar, I think, was a little bit unexpected. Talk about the genesis of that, where that was coming from, and why you were motivated to do that.
You know, to be honest with you, I have no clue where this Brock Lesnar situation came from, how it started. But it got serious really quick. And I started talking to my management team, first round management, and my team at Jackson's MMA. And I said, well, what do you guys think if this was to happen? And obviously my manager's like, well, it's going to be a big payday, right? That's his job, right? Make me money. But my team at Jackson's MMA, Jackson Wink, they said, John, you can win that fight. You know, you're gonna have to dig deep. You're gonna have to take your self-belief to a higher level. You're gonna have to earn this fight. Obviously, you have to change a lot. You know, fighting at 225 or 230. But so you can do this. And so we made up in our mind that we were serious about it, and I think it'd be great for the MMA world, right? It would definitely bring more general public to the sport of mixed martial arts, and that's what we need. We need to expand our sport, and so why not be the guy to play a part in that?
John, back here, what does it say about you? And you were pretty confident going in that you would perform like that tonight, but Dana was even blown away. Everybody here, to see you do that after the amount of time you've been off, all the things that you've been through. I mean, you were overwhelmed at the end, but what does it say about your overall greatness in your career that you can come back in and do what I don't think anybody could come back in and do tonight?
Thanks. Yeah, man. You know, we made a shirt that said "Unbroken," and I've made that my kind of life motto or slogan, whatever. It's just to be unbroken and to believe in believe in your dreams, despite, you know, how you get sidetracked in life. Just to remember why we started this and remember how great we all can be. And yeah, man, it just shows that, man, that you know, that can't be broken, can't bend me, can't break me. And I feel that way right now. I feel stronger than ever. And I hope that this story motivates somebody else to get on their feet and kick some ass in life.
That being said, as good as you were tonight, how much better can you be now that you, quote unquote, have your life together and outside of the cage is seeming to be aligned with inside of the cage and you hitting your prime all at the same time? How much better can you be even than you are now?
As far as saying I have my life together, you know, life is a day-by-day thing, you know. You gotta just try to make good decisions, one situation, one day at a time. So, you know, my life is still a work in progress. But I feel like I can be much better. Tonight, defensively, I felt like that I wasn't the sharpest. I got caught with some really, really big punches, some big hooks. Thank God for blessing me with a good chin. But yeah, I feel like the best is yet to come. You know, at age 30, I feel like I'm in my physical and mental prime. And just believing that will allow me to train at a higher level and just expect more out of myself. So I feel like my best years are still ahead of me. And I think it should be very scary to a lot of these light heavyweights that I'm still the youngest guy in the division and want to be here for a long time.
Hey, John, right here.
I think Kevin started first.
Okay,
I was quick.
Respect your elders.
Always.
Congratulations, John.
Thanks.
Can you compare this, put this in context with your win over Shogun Rua? When you set the record, you become the youngest champion, and that was such a dominant performance, and it's kind of like now, in a way, you come full circle. How do those two compare to you?
You know, they're definitely very similar. In a way, it feels like this fight feels like my first championship ever, almost, because I feel like I have a new beginning. You know, I went through such a dark period, and it's depression and all these things, and now the light is here at the end of the tunnel, and I feel like I'm leaving my past behind me. And I'm just, you know, I'm erasing everything that I've done before. I feel like this is the start to a new career, a new championship, and I feel like I want to be a better champion than I was in the past. So I feel like a new champion. This is my time to start all over, and to just be a better champion and be the champion that the fans deserve. So that's how it compares.
How much?
I'm not sure if that made sense, but it made sense to me.
How was your mom in your mind tonight? This is your first fight since you lost your mom. Was that?
My mom has been in my mind for sure, for sure. Yeah. Glad that she got to watch the fight tonight, front row. She had the best seat in the house, and yeah, I know she'd be extremely proud right now. So yeah, I'm happy.
And I just wanted to follow up on one other thing. Do you plan to, if Brock does take the fight, and he said, "Be careful what you wish for, young man." So I told Greg Beecham that. But if he does take the fight, would you think of campaigning as a heavyweight? And if he doesn't come back because of his suspension and everything else he has, you know, a fight with you and Stipe would certainly, you know, he's not that massive heavyweight that a Brock is. Would that be something people have talked to you about, fighting heavyweight a long time? Would
Yeah.
you consider campaigning there?
I feel like if I was to take a fight at heavyweight, it would be against a person who I felt, me and my coaching staff felt like it was just a perfect matchup for me. Right now, Stipe is looking extremely impressive. And I believe when you get an extremely talented big guy versus an extremely talented little guy, I mean, a lot of the cards are in his favor. At the same time, I fear no man, but I strike for a reason when I strike. And I feel like Stipe is relatively unknown to the general public. So it wouldn't even be a real super fight, in my opinion. I think the MMA fans would be really excited about it, but the general public wouldn't care about that fight. Most people don't really know who he is, with all due respect to him. So if I'm going to sacrifice being the smaller guy, I think stylistically, Brock would be a fight that makes way more sense, and the payday would be tremendous, and what it would do for our sport would be tremendous. It would have a much greater impact. So for many reasons, a Brock Lesnar fight just makes more sense to me.
From a timing standpoint, I'm here. From a timing standpoint, he may not be able to fight for a while, and you may have to have a fight before that, possibly. And I mean, what do you think of, say, Gustafsson or Ozdemir? And did you see the Ozdemir fight by any chance?
I did watch Ozdemir fight tonight. I thought he did a great job. You know, I'm not going to really make comments on anyone else. I don't want any headlines tomorrow to be about any other fighter. This is my moment, and when the time comes to get talked to about a possible opponent, then we'll let the headlines come out. But as of right now, I'll let them be about the great thing that happened tonight.
Obviously, with you calling out Brock, that's a new challenge, and you know it's a bigger challenge. When you look longer term at your career, with what you've accomplished, do you think you can be satisfied staying light heavyweight and just taking on the next #1 contender who comes?
Yeah, I feel like you know, people always say to me, well, you know, you're too long, or you're too big, and it's cheating that you are light heavyweight. But I can't control the way God built me. And one thing that I can't control is my weight management, and I do a very good job of that. I literally had ice cream this week, pancakes this week. I did things to keep my weight up. Tonight I fought at 215, which is light. So I feel like I have a lot more years at light heavyweight, and like I said, the only times that I will move to heavyweight is for a fight that really gets fans excited, or eventually challenging for that title against the perfect stylistic matchup for me.
And I mean, even thinking about this, Brock, I mean, is this something that fight that, you know, over the last 2 years, the sport has changed, and we've sort of seen, things that we didn't know were possible just in terms of the promotion. Has it been you sitting on the sideline and watching those challenges and watching those new developments and realizing that new things are possible?
Absolutely, absolutely. Like a guy like Conor McGregor, he has been a tremendous inspiration to me. He has shown me, who has been in the upper echelon of this sport for many years now, he's shown me that these huge paydays are possible. I never thought in my time as a champion, as a fighter, that I would see fighters making, $70 million or $100 million or whatever he's making in this Mayweather fight. It's been an inspiration that you can do it. It's like the first guy to go to the moon, right? And then now everyone wants to go to the moon. It's like the first guy who ran a 5-minute mile, and now everyone sees that it's possible. And that's what McGregor's done for me. So yeah, I mean, facing a guy like Brock Lesnar, getting the world excited about a MMA fight, and ultimately making some of those M's. I mean, that's what we're here for, right? So yeah, it's been great to be on the sidelines and just watch all the different ways of being a champion. And, I find inspiration in all these guys. Demetrius has been such an inspiration, and I mean, everyone. My sister Holly Holmes, she's been a great inspiration. Just showing how you should never give up, right? Always fight for it, despite what's happened. I drop power and motivation from so many people, and I'm grateful for all the different sources.
Jon, it says you landed 95 significant strikes tonight, and it was pretty much all evenly divided between the head, the body, and the legs. Was that the game plan to kind of work him from head to toe?
Yeah, that was the game plan to attack the body. Daniel said lots of times before that the body shots play dividends, and I knew that the age difference also would be a factor. So yeah, I just wanted to try to destroy his body and keep him guessing mainly, and ultimately win the long race.
And you said on the conference call Monday that you think with everything that's happened, the fans have maybe forgot how great you are, that you're one of the biggest draws in the sport, all those kind of things. Dana White was out here earlier. He said this event's tracking to do more than 1 million buys. For you, do you think
this fight?
Yeah.
More than 1 million buys?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This is great. So, what a way to come home.
So to you, do you think you expose yourself to the greater audience, that everyone is going to realize, that you're back?
Yeah, I felt like this was one of those fights that the world had to see. It was the biggest fight of the year, and I even heard rumors that Donald Trump was going to show up. Did any of you guys hear that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, to be a part of that, it's inspirational. It lets me know that my story is one that the world could look at and get something from. It lets me know that that all the faith and all the hard work and consistency and pushing through, it's something that intrigues the world. I mean, there's never been a champion like me, a young champion. Well, there has been, actually. I would say my career is kind of comparable to Mike Tyson, a guy who had it all, a guy who made a lot of mistakes. And I think I'm like a modern situation, and I think people are interested to see how I'm going to handle it. And I think that's what's most intriguing, is to see how someone can come back from so much bullshit, right? So I'm glad to be out there. I'm glad to be out there. I'm glad to let my life be a testimony for others.
And then finally, I actually asked you this question at the open workouts, but you misunderstood me. How is this second title reign going to be different than the first one? What's gonna change for this one going forward?
Well, my effort. I think I'll make a conscious effort to just do better. I'm also a lot more aware of who I am and the responsibility that comes with being a champion, a UFC champion. And so I don't want to sit up here and make promises and say that I'm going to be a saint, because I'm a wild motherfucker at the end of the day. But I can try to do things better. I can make a conscious effort to try to make better decisions, and I think that's enough. I think me expecting more out of myself will ultimately lead me into just being a better champion. I want to go and see my family and hang out, so I'm going to take off. Oh, look, you got a big old smile, so I'm going to give you your last question.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations, champ. You look like
Thank you,
you
sir.
haven't spent a day out of the ring, out of the octagon.
Thanks.
And not only do you look like that, you look like you improved. Why, stylistically, do you think a fight with Brock Lesnar would be super exciting as a super fight to the fans?
Well, I just think it's a winnable matchup. Obviously, Brock Lesnar has millions of followers outside of MMA, so that's huge for our sport to kind of steal some of those followers. And I feel like Brock, you know, he has a pretty limited game, and I just think it's a winnable fight, and there's just so much reward that's involved, and I just want to do it.
And one more question. The one fight stylistically that the fans have been wanting to see for a while, and I know you said you didn't want to fight, what is a guy like Anderson Silva? Would you ever consider making that a super fight in the future?
No, I have no interest in fighting Anderson Silva. Anderson Silva has been my inspiration for so many years. He is aging, and he is still magnificent, but I would never want to defeat Anderson, and I would never want to be defeated by Anderson. I would love to just have that open vibe that we have, where we can call each other, we can be there for each other, we can support each other for years to come. There's something awesome when you go from being idolizing someone to that person being your friend, and that's what I have in a guy like Anderson. So I want to keep it.
Fair enough.
God bless you guys.